Baltimore and WNST means we're getting to the beginning of fantasy football season. Many people getting together for some drafts and some brews and some wings and some pizza and whatever it is, crab cakes, whatever you're into. Many of our sponsors do that as well. And there's a lot of support this time of the year for that. And certainly, Aaron Schatz, one of our old pals here from Football Outsiders and an ESPN insider analyst as well, joins us from Massachusetts, where they're certainly going to go 19-0 on the field this year up there in New England. Aaron, happy preseason, happy fantasy season to you, and I know you've got the Football Outsiders Almanac ready to rock it out to get everybody ready for some analytics and some drafting, correct?
Yeah, man, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I think there's a song about that, isn't there?
That's usually a little later on, and with the chestnuts roasting over the open fire and all that stuff. But yes,
not
I mean,
for football fans, this is the best time of the year.
Dude, this whole fake football thing, like getting to the end of this, and I know it's important for fantasy, it's important for coaches, but all you really want to do is have guys get up after the pileup, right? Literally.
I know. It's tough. Preseason is tough. It's very hard to know what you're looking for from the outside. Coaches are not necessarily looking for guys to put up big numbers in the preseason. They're calling specific plays to see what guys do with their specific assignments, and on the outside, you have no idea. So basically all you can do is just hope nobody gets injured.
Yeah, and then there's practice, which makes it even worse. And all these games, as my wife says, much like Allen Iverson, practice. I'm going to go pay to see practice?
Do they make you pay down there? Because I don't think they make people pay. Some places it's free.
No, I'm talking the preseason games. The games are practice.
Well, the fact that they make people pay full price for preseason games is a freaking joke. But, I mean, as far as just watching to wait to hope that everybody gets up okay, it's not a good time to be a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Not at all. And this is not just the Ravens. I mean, I'm hearing the Bills crying the blues this week. Last week it was the Dolphins and their linebacker, and clearly they lost their quarterback at this point. It's really, really hard to evaluate this thing or what it's going to be when you don't know who the O-line is, you don't know who the tight end's going to be, your quarterback hasn't thrown the ball to anybody, and even the running back position up in the air, and Woodhead got dinged up last week. We feel like it's a mess down here, dude, really. I mean, this has been the least fun camp and preseason, and we're just crossing our fingers, hoping number 5 gets under center in Cincinnati in 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't give you some kind of happy talk about how it's better than you think it is. There's just been a lot of injuries, and the worst kind of injury is when they all build up at the same position, because you go from first stringers to second stringers to third stringers, and that's what sort of the status is on the offensive line in Baltimore. You have so many guys get hurt that you lose your consistency. And you not only are you going down to lower, second string, third string, guys haven't played together. It's tough. It's tough, and Baltimore's had it pretty bad for this year.
Well, and if it's quiet somewhere, I guess that's trouble. But there's a lot of expectation in a lot of other places. Pittsburgh, it hasn't been quiet there. I mean, they've had the media coming through there, and Peter King's writing about him on Monday, and I'm seeing him on ESPN on Tuesday. But they are really at this point, a team that's sort of poised to expect to win. This is sort of Ben's last stand. He's got all these offensive weapons around him. They've allegedly made the defense better and maybe a little bit more stable a situation up there than what we have here on either side of the ball, right?
Well, certainly on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Pittsburgh is projected, we have them projected as the best offense in the league. Now, the reason to think that may not happen is that the depth is not good in Pittsburgh. They don't have anywhere near the kind of depth on offense that New England has. But the fact is, they have the best wide receiver in the league. They have the best running back in the league. They have a pretty good quarterback. And they have an offensive line that has a lot of continuity and strong players playing together. And now they have Martavis Bryant back as long as he can stay away from the sweet, sweet ganja. So it's a really good collection of talent if people can stay healthy and not suspended. The problem in Pittsburgh is that if you can stay healthy and not suspended, often ends up with, whoops, we didn't stay healthy and not suspended. But if people are healthy, that is the best offense in the league. Better than the Patriots, better than Green Bay, better than Atlanta.
Should we be concerned about Cincinnati here, Aaron? I mean, week one, I'm very concerned that Ryan Mallett might be the quarterback. I have no idea who the right tackle or, the center is going to be at this point or the left guard. I mean, things are moving around here. Lots of parts, including Ronnie Stanley, moving around on the O-line. Cincinnati, it feels like it's been a nice little off-season for them, aside from drafting the likes of Joe Mixon, who was sort of kind of off the board around here after the Ray Rice fiasco. It feels like Marvin's trying to reload out there to make sort of a last stand for Andy Dalton there with him.
Well, Mixon may have been off the board because of Ray Rice, and obviously he's got a bad personal story, but let's talk about from a football perspective. From a football perspective, he is tremendously talented. Mixon was very well projected by our system. And John Ross, the receiver they took, has injury issues, but he was our number one projected wide receiver. So we loved the Bengals draft from a football perspective. But as far as the whole team, the Ravens and Bengals really came out kind of neck and neck in our season projections. The Ravens came out a little bit ahead. In the race for the wild cards in the AFC, in our projections, we sort of had those three teams together in a pack, but KC and Baltimore won them a little bit more often. But I think with the injuries in Baltimore, that Cincinnati and Baltimore are pretty neck and neck. But I don't think Cincinnati could say that they're past Baltimore. I mean, the Ravens have injuries and questions on the offensive line, but the Bengals just have questions, right? It's not like the healthy offensive linemen in Cincinnati don't have huge questions around them. And their defense is, look, there's some good players there, secondary, defensive line, but there's questions about the linebacker positions. They're depending on some guys who haven't played a lot, like Nick Vigil. I think the Baltimore defense, has some more to offer, at least in the front seven. So, I think the two teams are kind of neck and neck, but they're both definitely behind Pittsburgh when it comes to the odds this year, because that Pittsburgh offense is so strong if everybody's healthy, or even if only one of those players is out. The Pittsburgh offense is still much stronger than Cincinnati or Baltimore.
Aaron Schatz joining us here. He is FO_A Shots. That's SCHATZ. You may have seen him out on the ESPN Insider Analysis. They've been all over SB Nation at Football Outsiders. Their almanac is out now. We're going to give Aaron a chance to plug that and why you should be into the analytics of football. But before I go any further, you mentioned the Ravens defense, and certainly around here as much angst and hand-wringing we have about Flacco. And let's be honest, even a 100% healthy Joe Flacco this year, upright for all 16 games, there's still plenty of question marks about the offense. But one thing we've gotten out of this camp, and despite the injury to Tavon Young and the other issues on the offseason and guys going out, big expectations from this defense right now. You talked about the front seven and the investment in Brandon Williams, where we are with C.J. Mosley, and the fact that they've gone out into the market to shore up that safety position right now, maybe a little bit more depth and certainly a little bit more certainty with what you're going to get out of Brandon Carr and drafting Humphrey. This defense, the expectation level of what we expect out of this defense here, and hey, it's Baltimore. We've been built on defense. It's risen really this year from where it's been the last couple of years, where we've kind of entered it knowing the backside was a little drippy, a little leaky.
Well, you do have to remember there are players that are gone too, right? Like losing Orr, right? That's a big piece that needs to be replaced. Dumerville obviously had been less and less in recent years, only played half a year last year, but that's a player who needs to be replaced. And Tavon Young was really good last year. This is the thing I'll say about Humphrey, which is that rookie cornerbacks, top-drafted rookie cornerbacks, often struggle as rookies. Even Darrelle Revis was only average as a rookie. Patrick Peterson was below average as a rookie. It takes time, especially for outside cornerbacks, to develop. And when they develop early and have really good rookie years, that's just really good. Obviously, slot corners have good rookie years a little bit more often, like Tavon Young, but Tavon Young had a really good rookie year, and they're going to miss him. So there's a lot of good pieces here for this defense, but there still are question marks. We're not talking – it's unlikely this is going to be one of the great Baltimore defenses that can rival those great Baltimore defenses of old.
Well, we got to figure out who's getting after the quarterback, right? And you're counting on Suggs to do that. And, this has been a good offseason for him. Everyone in the building has talked about his commitment to being great and a commitment to wanting to win again because he has won. And I don't know if he's going to Canton, but he's at least in the Hall of Very Good or the Hall of Conversation or whatever. I wouldn't necessarily make a Hall of Fame case for him, but he could do that with 14 sacks this year, right? Literally.
They have the thing is, what else? The Ravens have an interesting group of kind of hybrid-y type players right now. Now, in some ways, that's good. I mean, that's how the New England Patriots have built themselves on both sides of the ball, and obviously that's working. But we really liked Michael Pierce. He was really good last year, small sample size, but really productive. And he's kind of like, he can be the defensive end in the 3-4, but he could maybe move out and play pass rusher. And then you've got a guy like Tyus Bowser, who did really great in our Saxier projection system, which we use to project college edge rushers into the pros. But he's kind of a hybrid player also who tends to drop into pass coverage sometimes. And you've got, Zadarius Smith, who sometimes is like a pass rusher and sometimes is more of a run defender. And there's just a lot of things going on. Guys who can play in different positions. The question is, are any of them good enough to be the kind of pure pass rusher that they need to play across from Suggs on the passing downs to get after the quarterback? Because nothing matters in NFL defense like pass rush. It's the most important thing on defense.
It's analysis like that makes folks want to come get the Football Outsiders Almanac. Give me a little briefing on this. I know it's been 13 years. I think I met you about 11 or 12 years ago out in Indianapolis, and I know you had been fishing amongst coaches and analytics and information, and obviously the world has moved in that direction much more quickly and obviously I think on the baseball side. But you've always been behind all of this stuff on the football side, along with Mike Tanier, who's another buddy of ours around here and a frequent contributor and guest here. This almanac you have, this is the time of the year if you're a fantasy player or you just want to look at the game a little differently. I know that's what that was your angle all along, right?
Right. I mean, it's actually more about how do teams build a playoff team? How do you build a Super Bowl champion? What are the chances of your team making it to the playoffs, making far, and what do they need to do in order to make that happen? That's actually the main goal of reading Football Outsiders Almanac. The fantasy football value is just sort of an added benefit, although, we do have projections and comments on all the fantasy positions, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. It's 500 pages, big chapters on every team with a bunch of numbers, and also write-ups because tables of numbers are boring without words next to them that actually explain what the numbers mean and what you should be looking for. Plus, we have previews of our top 50 college teams in here as well. You can also go to footballoutsiders.com. You can buy our Kubiak Fantasy Football Projections Workbook, which you can customize to your league, which we update throughout the preseason. And we have various premium data subscriptions that we now sell, including getting charting data like cornerback coverage and broken tackles during the season. So you would have known during the season last year just what a good rookie season Tavon Young was having.
Aaron Schatz joining us here from Football Outsiders and ESPN, an insider analyst there as well. Also, this week, SB Nation. You said you're doing something there with all 32, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You check out the SB Nation. We did interviews with all 32 SB Nation team blogs, including Baltimore Beatdown, where they asked the people who wrote the chapters in our book questions about the chapter and about the team going forward. And so there's lots of interesting information there about all 32 teams that didn't even make it into our book, or, responses to questions that have been brought up by injuries that have taken place since we published the book. So folks should check that out as well.
All right, so, back onto the Ravens and where they are. I think after the draft, everyone said, well, why didn't they get Flacco more help? Why didn't they draft more on the offensive side of the ball? And then the Jeremy Maclin thing happens in Kansas City. A lot of things have happened in Kansas City. Some thoughts about him in this offense, if we're assuming a healthy Flacco, because, look, dude, if Ryan Mallett's going to go out there and be the quarterback through the middle of October and Flacco struggles to get back on the field, I don't think anybody could like the Ravens at this point. But if we're going to have a level playing field and say, all right, Flacco's really going to be back, he's really going to play most or all of the snaps this year, where does Maclin fit in? Is that a nice fit as you see it?
Where does Maclin fit in? I mean, I think he's a good receiver. He's the kind of guy that they needed, but he's not going to be breaking any games open. I mean, I don't think he's probably not as good as what Steve Smith did last year. Maybe close, but they're both aging. What they really need is for Brashad Perriman to be healthy and fulfill his potential. I love Brashad Perriman coming out of school, and he just couldn't stay healthy. That's the guy they could really use to really be healthy and to really develop. The other thing is just this question of who the tight ends are, right? I mean, I don't know what the deal is with the Williams health. Watson, he may be back being healthy, but he's quite aged at this point. I think you're going to see a lot of Danny Woodhead in the passing game. That's what you're going to see.
Well, in that case, then that's going to mean the defense needs to be more stout. The pickup of Jefferson was universally lauded, and it was, it's very rare. I do this every offseason, Aaron, that the Ravens target and get a guy early. They're the team losing guys for compensatory picks down the line. This year, they targeted Jefferson, went after him, and paid him, and that's what they wanted to do. And they certainly saw the need, and they saw the player, and I think it was, again, universally lauded, right?
Yeah, it allows Weddle to play back more, play more deep stuff, center field. And the other thing is, look, when you spend big money on a free agent, you don't want to do it on a guy who's 30. If you're going to spend big money on a free agent, you want to do it on a guy who's played 4 years and who's still young. And Jefferson is only going to be 25 this year. If you were going to spend money on a free agent, that's the kind of guy that you want to spend money on.
Hey, man, always great to visit with you. Tell everybody how to find you, where to get the book, the almanac, and how to download. Give me the whole lowdown on it, Aaron.
The website is footballoutsiders.com. You can find all our articles there, the fantasy projections. You can buy the PDF version of Football Outsiders Almanac there for $20. You can also buy the print version or Kindle on Amazon. Just search for Football Outsiders Almanac 2017.
Hey, bro, it's all a big scam, right? I mean, the Patriots are going to go 19-0 this year, right? I mean, you live in New England, right?
Well, I do live in New England, and I do think the Patriots are the prohibitive favorites, but trying to predict that a team will go 19-0, everything has to go right. I mean, everything has to go right for that to happen, and that almost never happens. Injuries will come. Surprise losses will come. The Patriots are going to go 13-3 or 14-2. The Jets are going to go 2-14. They're not going to go 0-16. Their defense is too good for them to go 0-16. Their defensive line is too good.
Even the Browns are going to win a game. Is that what you're telling me?
Everybody's going to win a game.
Right.
Everybody's going to lose a game. But when it comes to the championship, there's no doubt the Patriots were the best team in the league last year. They improved for this year. They have a top 3 projection on offense, defense, and special teams. And we have them projected with the easiest schedule in the league.
Of course.
Oh, and by the way, now that the Bills have made those trades, 2 out of the 3 teams in their division are essentially tanking the season, and the 3rd team lost its quarterback. It's ridiculous.
As someone said earlier this week, are the Philadelphia 76ers unavailable? Play them at this point. I guess when it comes to the Patriots, though, we're all sort of giving chase, and I'm always wondering what they're going to do to cheat this year, Aaron. That's always the question I have.
Now,
I'm also wondering how 41-year-old quarterback's pulling this off, but I do want to buy the book.
That is the downside, by the way. That's the biggest reason why it doesn't make sense to predict or bet on a perfect season, is that we've never seen a quarterback play like Brady at this age. Here's the thing about great quarterbacks. When they go fast and they go suddenly, but you can't predict it. There's no reason to believe it will be this year that Brady suddenly loses it.
There's never been a quarterback like this eating avocado ice cream either. I mean,
it could be 2020. It could be 2020. But if he keeps playing, the day will come, and when he loses it, it is going to be fast and it is going to be severe, just like Favre, just like Marino. Just like Manning, who lost it in the middle of a season. It will be shocking, but there's no reason to believe it's going to be this year.
We can all dream a little bit. We're here in Baltimore, man. We're just trying to get our quarterback onto the field September 10th. Aaron, good luck with the Football Outsiders Almanac. You guys do great work up there. I send everybody out FO_A shots. That's SCHATZ, pronounced like the beer in Milwaukee, which was Laverne and Shirley and the Big Ragu. If it's good enough for the Big Ragu, it's good enough for me, Aaron. Always a pleasure to have you on, man. We'll be looking forward to following you guys during the season.
Thanks, and good luck this year. Let's get all the quarterbacks on the field because it's a better game when you got Flacco and Andrew Luck out there instead of Ryan Mallett and Scott Tolzien.
Well, we got a lot of that going on. I mean, it's just fake football, man. Right now, we're getting through that to get to the real thing, and I'm looking forward to it. And hey, around here, we're not going to have all that playoff baseball y'all are going to have up there in New England as the leaves change either. So we gotta focus on the purple around here, bro. Great having you on, Aaron. Be well.
All right, be well, man.
You got it. Aaron Schatz joining us here, the head of Football Outsiders and ESPN Insider Analyst. You can also check out their work at SB Nation and the Football Outsiders Almanac. I am Nestor. You can find me out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We're headed over to London, to Wembley for the big game on the 24th of September. On the 23rd, Saturday, we're going to have a little get-together, little pub get-together at the Fox at XL. It's going to start at 11 o'clock in the morning. Free, easy, no tickets. Just come by, grab it off the tube. All the information up on our social media as well as at WNST.net. We're doing our purple cable car over the Thames experience over to the O2 Arena. It's going to be a big hootenanny, as we say. It is September the 23rd. All the information up on the website. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. The buyatoyota.com audio vault is there if you want to find any of our work, any of the previews for this week's Bills game, the weekend up at Fenway Park, any of our radio there for you. Morning newspaper ships to your email inbox each and every morning at 7 a.m. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness and planetfitness.com, where it's still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life, guaranteed. Any breaking news happens first on our WNST tech service. That's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, and Dennis Kolatzos will be here on Thursday, 3 until 5. Grinding it out. These final couple hours of fake football before we get to the real thing in early September. Appreciate Dennis's sponsorship and the show. SSV on WNST 3 to 5 on Thursday. I am Nestor. You can send me an email anytime, anywhere. Nasty at WNST.net. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.